Is it possible that the biggest concert of the century could actually conceal an emotional risk that is never openly discussed? That a single small decision when buying a ticket could make an ARMY go home with a sense of having lost Jungkook, even while being in the same stadium? This is the question that has slowly settled into the global digital space since BTS officially announced their return to the world stage. An announcement that on one side triggered collective euphoria, yet on the other left behind an unease that has not been fully voiced. The excitement did indeed explode, but beneath it, a quiet anxiety began to be felt by fans. What if this concert is too big, too immersive, and too perfect? So much so that it actually makes the most precious moments feel out of reach. After a long hiatus due to military obligations, BTS has finally confirmed what for so long had only been a faint hope. They are back, complete as 7 members, and not merely returning, but returning on a scale never seen before. The world tour scheduled to run from 2026 to 2027 includes more than 70 shows across continents, starting in Goyang, South Korea, before sweeping through Asia, North America, Europe, Latin America, and Australia. These numbers are not just statistics. They are a signal that BTS has no intention of making an ordinary comeback. This is a statement of power, a reminder that the hiatus did not weaken them. It accumulated energy that is now being released all at once. However, among all the announced details, there is one element that immediately stole attention and sparked emotional debate among ARMY: the 360-degree in-the-round stage design. For the first time in the history of K-pop stadium tours, the stage is no longer a straight line with a clear front and back. It is placed right in the center of the venue, surrounded by the audience from all directions. Conceptually, this sounds revolutionary, even ideal. Every angle becomes close. Every seat is claimed to be a premium spot. But it is precisely here that an uncomfortable question arises. If every direction is the front, is it possible that there is no longer a front that is truly in focus? For ARMY, a BTS concert is not just about hearing songs or watching choreography. It is an emotional ritual. Eye contact, small gestures, the direction of Jungkook's steps on stage. These are fragments of memory held tightly, recorded not only by phone cameras, but by feelings. Jungkook, as the center of emotional gravity, often becomes the axis of that experience. And now, with a 360-degree stage, that axis is no longer static. It moves, rotates, and divides itself into thousands of different viewpoints. The question is no longer, can I see Jungkook? But rather, am I seeing the same version of Jungkook as everyone else? This design, according to many industry observers, is a bold and smart move. It increases capacity, opens wider access to tickets, and creates an immersive experience in line with global concert standards set by top-tier artists. Many ARMYs even praise this concept as proof that BTS always thinks about their fans. They think of everything, wrote one fan on social media. A simple sentence that represents deep trust in the group's decisions and their creative team. Yet, like all major innovations, the 360-degree stage also brings consequences that cannot be fully controlled. Unease begins to surface in small discussions. What if Jungkook faces certain sections more often? What if emotional moments, an ad-lib, a spontaneous smile, or a camera gaze, happen in the opposite direction from where we are sitting? In concerts with conventional stages, ARMY knows where to focus their attention. There is a clear front, a visual hierarchy that can be predicted. Now that predictability is gone. Every second becomes a gamble of viewing direction. Every movement Jungkook makes forces the audience to constantly adjust their focus. And for some people, this is not a liberating experience, but an emotionally exhausting one. Ironically, this unease emerges at the very same time as the most historic moment in BTS's journey. This tour is predicted to be the largest of all time in K-pop history, with potential revenue reaching almost unimaginable figures. A new album scheduled for release in March 2026 further strengthens the narrative of this resurgence. After years of focusing on solo projects and fulfilling national duties, the 7 members now return, bringing their individual stories onto one stage. Every song is not just entertainment, but a marker of time, a reflection of personal journeys that are now reunited. This is where the emotional conflict reaches its peak. What if, in the midst of all this grandeur, an ARMY goes home feeling empty simply because they sat in the wrong section? Not wrong in a technical sense, but wrong emotionally. Wrong because Jungkook felt too far away. Wrong because the hoped-for moments, the moments of eye contact, moments of connection, never truly happened. This question may sound excessive to outsiders, but for a fandom that builds its identity on deep emotional connection, it is a very real concern. The predicted fierce ticket hunt only intensifies this tension. Official platforms like Weverse and Ticketmaster become digital battlefields, where ARMY competes not only to get tickets, but to secure positions considered the safest. Safe from feelings of loss, safe from regret. On social media, discussions about the best sections begin to mix with speculation and fear. Hashtags about BTS's comeback may be trending, but in between them are quiet conversations. What if I don't see Jungkook the way I have imagined all this time? The 360-degree stage, designed to bring people closer, actually opens the possibility of a new kind of distance, a distance that is emotional. Not because Jungkook is truly far away, but because attention must be divided because focus is no longer centralized. On a scale this large, not everyone can be in the right direction at the right time. And perhaps this is where the rarely discussed reality lies, that even the biggest concert does not guarantee a uniform experience. This is not about failure, but about paradox. About how innovation meant to unite can instead give rise to new fears. About how ARMY, in the midst of the euphoria of BTS's comeback, begins to realize that the grandeur of the stage also carries the risk of losing moments. And that question echoes once again, louder, more disturbing. Can choosing the wrong section truly mean losing Jungkook? Or is this, instead, a new emotional test for a fandom long known as the most loyal and the most ready to face anything, even an invisible sense of loss? A 360-degree stage does promise visual proximity, but it never promises emotional equality. On paper, the in-the-round concept sounds like a perfect solution for stadium concerts. There are no longer seats that are truly marginalized. No more audiences forced to watch an artist's back all night. Everyone surrounds the stage, everyone has a viewpoint, everyone, theoretically, receives a fair experience. Yet human experience rarely submits fully to theory. For BTS, and especially for Jungkook, a 360-degree stage changes how their presence is felt. Jungkook is not just a performer. He is a point of emotional gravity. Every movement he makes carries meaning for ARMY, who have waited years to see him return together with the other 6 members. When he steps toward one side of the stage, thousands of eyes on that side feel chosen, while tens of thousands on the opposite side must wait for a turn that is never guaranteed. This waiting is not about seconds or minutes, but about an inner tension that stays alive throughout the concert. Will the next moment come this way, or drift away again? In previous concerts with conventional stages, this dynamic was relatively simple. Jungkook and the other members faced one main direction, cameras focused there, and the audience shared a collective understanding of where the center of attention was. Now that center is fragmented. Cameras have to work harder, giant screens become mediators of the experience, and ARMY are faced with a constant dilemma. Look directly at the stage or entrust their emotions to the screen. For some, the screen is a bridge. For others, it is a reminder that Jungkook is actually standing in the wrong direction. This discussion has begun to grow stronger within international fan communities. Some praise the immersive experience, feeling as if Jungkook visits every side of the stadium. Others admit to going home with a strange feeling, as if they had missed something that cannot be repeated. The concert was incredible, they say, but there were small moments that felt incomplete. A smile captured by the screen, not by direct eyes. A wave of the hand that seemed directed elsewhere. These trivial things may be insignificant to casual viewers, but for ARMY, this is precisely where emotional value resides. Media and entertainment industry analysts view this phenomenon from a different angle. They highlight the courage of BTS and Live Nation in adopting a stage design long associated with global artists like Taylor Swift and Beyoncé. From a production perspective, it is an extraordinary technical achievement. Lighting design, sound systems, and choreography must all be adjusted to function from every direction. Yet, in the pursuit of technical perfection, a more subtle question emerges. Can emotional experience be designed with the same level of precision? For Jungkook himself, a 360-degree stage is both a challenge and a freedom. He is no longer bound to a single direction, a single line of sight. He can move more organically, interact with audiences on different sides. But this freedom also means greater responsibility. Every step he takes now carries emotional consequences spread across a vast crowd. Every time he chooses one side to greet for a little longer, another side must be patient, hoping their turn will come before the song ends. This is where the narrative of choosing the wrong section emerges. The term is not merely a technical complaint, but an emotional expression. Choosing the wrong section means misplacing hope, choosing the wrong location to store memories that have long been imagined. ARMY sitting in certain sections may get the best angle for group choreography, while others receive more intimate solo vocal moments. Nothing is truly wrong, but not everything aligns with the personal expectations carried from the start. In Indonesia and other countries with massive fan bases, this anxiety feels even more intense. For many ARMY, attending a BTS concert is not an easily accessible experience. It requires significant financial, time, and emotional sacrifice. When the opportunity finally arrives, the pressure to maximize the experience becomes overwhelming. In this context, a 360-degree stage is not just an innovation, but a mental test. Can we accept that not every moment will be visible from our seats? The greatest irony of all is the fact that this stage design was created with noble intentions. It aims to bring people closer, to unite, to offer a stronger sense of inclusivity. And in many ways it succeeds. Yet, like all great creations, it also opens space for unexpected interpretations and emotions. ARMY begin to realize that physical closeness does not always align with emotional closeness. Jungkook may be only a few dozen meters away, but if his gaze never meets ours, that distance feels immeasurable. This second chapter is not about blaming design choices or creative decisions. It is a portrait of the complexity of modern fandom experiences, where technology, scale, and emotion converge within the same space. A 360-degree stage forces ARMY to confront a new reality. In a concert this massive, experiences will always be fragmented. Not everyone will bring home the same story, and perhaps that is the price of witnessing something so immense. Yet the question is not finished. If this chapter is about awareness of limitations, then one thing remains unanswered. How do ARMY make peace with the possibility of missing moments? Will that sense of loss linger? Or will it become part of the larger story of BTS's comeback? The answer waits in the next chapter, where euphoria, regret, and acceptance begin to collide. In the end, the question that haunts ARMY the most is no longer about stage design, viewing angles, or ticket sections, but about something far deeper and more personal. How do we accept the reality that the moment we have dreamed of for years may never arrive in the form we imagined? This is where the third chapter of the reality of BTS's 360-degree stage begins to open, not as a technical continuation of the concert, but as a collective emotional reflection of a fandom learning to make peace with the sheer magnitude of their idols. After the stadium lights fade and the final cheers die down, many ARMY realize that what remains is not only euphoria, but also a strange kind of silence. There is happiness in finally witnessing BTS return as a complete seven. There is emotion in seeing Jungkook stand at the center of the stage, singing with conviction, carrying the weight of millions of hopes. Yet alongside that, a quiet question emerges in the minds of some audience members. Was that it? Did the moment I had been waiting for actually happen, or did it slip by without me realizing it? The 360-degree stage in this context functions like a giant mirror for ARMY's expectations. It reflects not only light and sound, but also hopes, fears, and the desire to own a perfect moment. Jungkook may have greeted every side of the stadium, but there is no guarantee that those greetings felt personal to every individual. And here, a slow but important shift in understanding takes place. That a BTS concert is no longer about owning individual moments, but about sharing an emotional space that is extraordinarily vast. Some ARMY begin to share their reflections after the concert. There are those who admit to initial disappointment, feeling that Jungkook turned his back on their section too often. But there are also those who later realize that their experience was not lesser, just different. They may not have received direct eye contact, but they felt a collective energy unlike anything before. Cheers coming from every direction, mass sing-alongs echoing without a single center, and the feeling of being part of something far bigger than an individual interaction with an idol. On the scale of a tour predicted to break records and generate revenue approaching $1 billion, BTS is indirectly redefining what a K-pop concert means. This is no longer an intimate space between artist and fan, mapped clearly by distance and direction. It is a global event, a cultural ritual, and a shared experience that cannot be fully controlled by any single point of view. Jungkook, as the symbol of BTS's emotional magnetism, stands at the center of this vortex, not to be possessed, but to be witnessed together. For ARMY in Indonesia and other countries, this acceptance does not always come easily. Many have saved for years, sacrificing a great deal for a single ticket. In that context, the feeling of missing a moment cuts deeper. Yet over time, a new understanding emerges, that the value of the concert does not lie solely in what is seen visually, but also in what is felt collectively. Jungkook may feel physically distant, but his presence is real in every scream, every lyric sung together, every emotional vibration that spreads across the stadium. Thus, the reality of BTS's 360-degree stage is not about right or wrong choices in selecting a section. It is about a change in how we experience idols, about a transition from the need for exclusive moments toward an acceptance that not everything must be personally owned to be meaningful. Choosing the wrong section may mean losing one angle of Jungkook, but it does not mean losing the essence of his presence. When the concert ends, what remains is not only video recordings or blurry phone photos. What remains is a story about how BTS returned in a way that changed everything. A story about ARMY learning that losing one moment does not erase the meaning of the entire journey. And within all of this, one conclusion slowly settles in. Perhaps the 360-degree stage is not about making Jungkook feel closer, but about reminding us that true fandom love is not measured by viewing distance, but by the depth of emotion we are able to carry home.